Welcome back to the This Is Much More podcast. I'm Evelyn and my co-host is
Rollie Vogues.
And today we have a very, very special guest.
Mike Mills.
Mike
Mills, welcome to the podcast, bro.
Thank y'all guys.
Bro, honestly, I just want to say, thank you for pulling up, and how did we even come across or
So honestly, I have been seeing what y'all been doing on social media, and I feel like social media it's like a gift and a curse. In this case, it was the gift. It linked us up, and we had our conversations, and you were like, yo, Mike, I think, you should come by, and I wanted to come by, and I feel like this is great,
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here today.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, because I was telling her, you were on live, and you were with OT, and I don't know, I just hopped in, and then I'm like, oh, let me put some fires real quick.
That's actually how it happened. You're right.
Yeah.
That's how it happened. Because I already had seen y'all anyway. So when I seen you, you had left some love on there.
Yeah.
I think I may have even seen you, damn man, love what you're doing with the city.
Yeah.
But hey man, I'm glad you left that comment.
Yeah, I was like, damn, it's because you never know, bro. You never know. I just hopped in randomly. And I just did that, and here we are. So it's it's pretty dope, honestly.
Yeah.
A full circle moment.
Yeah, for sure. But genuinely, I was telling you off camera, I want to know a little bit about your backstory. Where'd you grow up? Where you from?
So I'm actually from Sugar Land, Texas.
Okay.
So I was born in Houston, but I would say growing up, because for me, I feel like growing up is where did you go to middle school and high school?
Yeah.
So I would say Sugar Land is where I'm actually from.
Oh, okay.
But you grew up, you were born in Houston, but y'all moved to Sugar Land.
Absolutely. So I went to Kempner High School. Shout out Kempner High School, class of 03.
Oh. I think I was barely going into elementary.
Oh my gosh. Now I really feel old.
No, we already talked about the age. He's not even that old.
Yeah.
Nah.
But if you say so, all right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, honestly, bro, we've had Lucia and Jesse from Hip Hop Vintage Flea Market.
Are you familiar with that? Yeah.
Absolutely. They have one coming up soon, right?
The
8th. I'm gonna go pull up to that. I've been before.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. I think
Yeah,
I love
bro.
what my thing now is it's cool, for us, right, at the shop, having celebrities and stuff come by and doing that content. But for me, what's big now is what can we do to brighten the city? What can we do to connect the city? Because I feel like that's such an important thing. Is there's so many different people and so many really cool people and cool businesses. And even right now, on this podcast, at the end of the day, I'll be honest, I have a lot of people that hit me up to they want me to come to do an interview, but I don't do interviews. The reason why I came on this one again, I like y'all's vibe. I like the way that it was set up.
Thank you.
So I'm here today. But yeah, I like now where I'm at. I like doing things that connect the city. For lack of better words.
Sure. I feel like the culture in Houston is just growing, and we're just getting the attention that I feel like we've always had attention, because Houston's big, but I feel like now it's just we are all doing our own thing, a lot of us, for the city.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at Atlanta, right? And even me when I was growing up, even in high school, early college years, seeing how Atlanta, with the producers and artists and everyone just comes together, and that's why that city just blew up, and especially with the hip hop side. So I looked at Houston, and I felt like Houston was very divisive, right? And so now I feel like we're finally in an era, and also with social media, that we can all really come together, and we don't have to necessarily be gatekeepers, oh, I'm only gonna mess with so and so. I feel like nowadays,
I hate that.
As the saying goes, it's better to soar with the eagles. So that's kind of where I'm at. Is when I first started, it was kind of F everybody else, it's me out here. But now, the more I look at it, I think age obviously has a lot to do with it, and getting in the industry, it's no. You need to be cool with everybody. So I feel like now, and I feel like a lot of people are starting to have that mentality now, because I'm starting to see a lot of different people that you normally wouldn't see together, they're all showing love, and it's a great thing.
Yeah, which I think, how you said the age had to do with it, because I feel like back then it was different. It was, I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to give you where I got it from, because if I work for it, you got to work for it, right?
Exactly.
And now it's more, I feel like I'll give it to you, but I'm also we're both working. If they do more, it's because they're putting in more work at the end of the day, right? No, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then it's kind of crazy because I was telling her a few days ago, I think, that I feel personally I'm in the middle of knowledge-wise, we just had like Jasmine Pineda, right? Or not Pineda. Pineda, right? But she's like in Sugarland, you know. But she's like, are you familiar with like Alpha Land, Alpha League?
Absolutely. The workout place.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, stuff like that, bro. I'm like, we might have people that don't know what that is, even, you know. So it's like, I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with the stuff you do. I'm familiar with like stuff in Southeast, South Houston, like Pasadena area, like, and in a way, our podcast kind of brings all that together, or it ties it all in a way, just because I have that knowledge, you know what I mean? So it's like, so right now, even people that our friends or our family probably don't even know much about you or your store, but here we are, you know, today to like inform them about stuff like that.
And that's why I wanted to come on too. It's like, you know, I wanted a little bit more visibility and touch, you know, some people that maybe I haven't got to touch yet. You know, even though we're at Johnny Dang's and we've done this, that, and the other, you know, you may think you're doing big things there, but then other people don't know about you. You know, Houston's a big city.
I know, it's crazy. Like, honestly, it's so crazy to me because you're like, let's say if we hadn't, you know, had this episode, and then you showed up, you pulled up to hip hop, and I'm there, and I wouldn't have like, you know, I wouldn't be like, oh, hey, what's up, you know. But now if I see you, I'm like, hey, what's up, you know, hey, this is Jessie, this is Lucia, like you know, like the connection through the podcast that we're able to build is what we love about our podcast, you know.
Absolutely.
So,
but I kind of want to know, like, so when did, if you had like to pitch like what you do and stuff, like what would you say, like a quick reply?
So if you ask me what I do, I am in, I would say, the fashion industry. I wouldn't even call it clothing. We're in the fashion industry, you know, because like, you know, what we do encompasses more than just clothing, right? Yeah. Because now we do, you know, now, like when I first started this, I started in 2016. I was selling cars, and I was actually selling clothing from the car dealership, and my boss walked over and he's like, man, you know, normally I would get mad at someone doing a side business at the car dealership, but you know, you do great here, but I love what you're doing, and I think you should do it full time. So long story short, I ended up leaving the car dealership, and I just got into doing clothing only. My main thing was I was doing Rare Supreme. Like, I didn't even do shoes. You know, now where we're at now, we do shoes, we do clothing, we do content. Now we also have a podcast with 97.9 The Box. So like, you know, we're trying to touch more bases. So I would just say, man, I'm in the fashion industry.
Okay, bet.
So you were considered like an OG reseller.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Now I would definitely say I'm an OG reseller for sure. You know, over 3 years at Johnny's, and I used to do this, you know, out of my condo. You know, I got this 950 square foot condo. It's like a piece of history. You know, a lot of my people that may know me on this episode that had the chance to come during that era. And shout out to my brother Maxwell Cream, Sauce Walk. A lot of these guys, they would come over to my house, sit on the couch, smoke one, shop a little bit, and then dip out. And that's kind of where this all sprung from. Yeah. You know, I didn't even start with the storefront. I literally, and that's one thing I also another reason I wanted to come on here is also not to make it about me, but also the positive.
It is about you.
Well, you know, you know, I appreciate that, but also make it about like the positivity and people that may be thinking, you know, maybe they want to get into this, and they're like, man, I only got a couple grand, you know, I can't get the big bad storefront, I can't go be in the mall, like, man, maybe this isn't for me. And just to let y'all know, like, I didn't start with the storefront. I started with $3,000 in my condo. That's all I had.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we want to get into, like, because there was a story before the storefront, you know?
Absolutely.
So, like, what was it that kind of, like, made you interested? I know you said, like, you were already doing the streetwear stuff, but it's, like, what caused that, like, that spark of interest? Like,
I'll be honest, man. I've been in and out of sales for over 20 years. You know, the first thing I ever sold was I worked for this spot called the Piano Store. And shout out Scott Covington for giving me my first job at 15 years old. And I sold pianos. And I kind of, I guess you say, got the taste of blood when I made my first sell. And that, you know, commission it got my blood pumping. So over time, went from like selling cell phones and electricity door to door, like just a bunch of crazy stuff. And
let me just put this out there. Sales job is one of the hardest jobs you can have, because that job, you have to work for your money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not like you're getting paid what you work for, like literally, right? Like
straight up, if you don't sell, you don't eat. And, and you know, but on the flip side, sales is the second highest paid profession that you can be in, besides being like a sport player or a celebrity. So it has like really big potential. But you're right, you know, some people, they don't want to go outside that comfort zone because they want to make that for sure money, you know, versus like the maybe money. The way I looked at it was like, the sky's the limit. I would rather go do this because I know that I'm going to do well, you know, versus just be behind a desk, you know. So, But
what other sales jobs have you done?
So
or like what's said, like the worst one?
I'll be honest. The worst one I did it's a tie. It was I was selling cell phones at a kiosk at West Oaks Mall, and then the second one was door-to-door electricity with Green Mountain Electricity.
Because, oh my God, Green Mountain!
Yes, Green Mountain Electricity.
Are they legit?
I mean, let's put it this way: the electric company itself is legit. How they pay and what they expected of us. When I look back at it now, it was a little out there. I mean, we're going to like random houses in the heat, But I mean, again, I was younger. I wanted, you gotta learn yourself. You gotta learn what you're capable of.
I think I beat you with the sales job.
What'd you have?
I used to work at a funeral home.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, yeah, you beat me.
Yeah, so we used to sell the actual like spaces where people would get buried, the services, like everything. But it was really great money. Like great money, like
But you're dealing with death. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, people die on a daily basis, so
it is crazy. And I would tell her. I mean, people that listen to the podcast know, but I would tell her, I'm like, man, you're kind of like. I felt like she was like not feeling like her feelings anymore. It's like, or people like pass away. She's just like, oh, like that sucks.
Well, because I told him like it's unprofessional to cry. Like it is considered unprofessional.
Right.
So you have to like. You can't be like sobbing and trying to sell them like a 50,000 estate. Like you can't do that. You have to be the person keeping it together, but without taking advantage, because they're at at their lowest point in life, right? But yeah, I used to do door to door too for AT&T.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's crazy. Door to door is probably one of the hardest sales jobs.
Absolutely, because I mean, like you don't know what you're about to walk into. You the person maybe having the worst day ever, or could be dealing with the death and. Hey, what's up? And they're like, nah, and even when they open the door, it's not for sure you're gonna make the sale. That is just the opportunity that you get to make the sale. It's not, for every sale I made, that was 50 doors that closed on me. So like that was the average. I felt like,
Yeah, that is crazy.
You keep trucking though.
Yeah.
Um,
no, go ahead.
Whenever you were selling like the streetwear and everything, and you had like these artists and people coming through or stuff, did you have like social media back then? Or
so we did. So I created the Houston Closet page in 2016. It's funny how I even came up with the name. I was talking to my cousin, and he works for the Dr. Phil show. His name is Eric, and I told him what I want to do. He's like, man, it's a great idea, but Mike, you need a really good name. And I was coming with these different names, and he goes, all right, stop. He goes, your name needs to be something simple. He goes, imagine this. Let's say you're in a gas station and someone's like, yo, I love the fit, the outfit that you have on. Where can I get it? And like, let's say he's walking out the door and you only got a half a second to tell him. You need something that rolls off easy. So I was like, man, I want to incorporate something with Houston, but then I want people to have like the dopest closets. And then I was like, what about Houston Closet? He goes, no, that's dope. So like once that name hit, I was like, let's roll it out. And that was my beginning, was Houston Closet.
And that was still whenever you were in your condo.
Yes.
So technically your condo was like your closet.
Was the closet.
Or people's closet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a scary time. I was asleep with a gun under my pillow because I had a bunch of merch and shoes there. But
yeah, that's crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Security aspect is crazy. Yeah, the security aspect. I'm thankful. Thank the Lord that nothing ever happened. And I got a lot of respect out here, so maybe that has something to do with it. And I did a really good job of vetting people before they come, but then you never know, because then I had random Instagram pages hit me up, want to set an appointment. I want to make the money, so I let them come by. My way of vetting people was just kind of like looking at their Instagram. As long as they didn't look like they were going to kill me or rob me, like, all right, cool. Come
I feel like that's how it kind of is with our podcast.
Yeah, with the podcast.
Right, because you never know who you're going to deal with.
So I had to go through your Instagram page. I'm like, is he a gangster? Is he going to come get us?
Definitely not a gangster. Now where I'm at with things, it's more of like an open book. A lot of people know who I am. And like,
at the end of the day, I feel like when you're an open book, like people like to see that, because either they can relate to you and they like you or they don't, you know?
Right.
So it's just like, I feel like for us it's the same. I think we have people reach out like, oh, I want to go on your podcast, but we only record, once a week, and it's very limited space. So we want to make sure we are bringing people that are going to bring people knowledge, like how you were saying, like I just started with $3,000 out of my condo, like, people want to hear that. They need to hear that so they know
Right.
that it's not just, oh shit, I got money and I just opened my storefront.
Right,
You
right.
know?
Yeah.
They see all the positive stuff, the stuff with celebrities and stuff, but they don't realize like the trial and tribulations beforehand. And
Yeah.
the even before I got into doing this, like the stuff I had to deal with, I would say 2009, 2010 were pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
I was in prison. So
Okay.
not county jail. I was in TDC. You know, shaved my head. I went to the Walls unit, just like out of the movie Shawshank Redemption. People yelling at me. You know, guys trying to get me to click up. You know, being prison gangs and stuff like that. It was
How long?
I was in TDC for 15 months.
Oh,
Yeah, so I spent Christmas, birthday, Easter, my mom's birthday, dad. It was.
Was it like a big crime?
It was just a possession charge.
Oh, okay.
But it was, and I'll say it, I mean, it's from 2004. I mean, I was 19 years old.
Okay.
I used to watch Scarface and stuff. We didn't have cell phones. We just went off what we thought we knew. And hey, I seen this guy in a movie that can
There was
move.
not much guidance, I feel.
Not at all. I feel like the cell phones is a lot of people, people think that everyone's glued on it, but for people that are in business, it was the best thing to happen.
Yeah, that
period.
is true.
And I feel that is changing now. That mentality, like, oh my God, you're on your phone. I feel like that mentality is changing because I feel like a lot of people are working off their phone now.
Absolutely.
Like your business is literally on your phone. Like it's crazy. Like this.
Absolutely. Like majority of our business does come from social media. Obviously we get a lot of like people that just come and pull up. Because I feel like now we become kind of like a destination spot, being at Johnny Dang's, having a beautiful brick and mortar shop with someone who's so iconic in the city. But no, you're right. In the beginning, it didn't start like that. It was just me answering DMs and telling certain artists, come pull up. I'm sitting there blessing certain artists with free stuff when I really didn't have it to give. But that's kind of what got my foot in the door,
Yeah, your name was...
Yeah, because that's kind of crazy. Like, I think about that a lot, too. Like, you want to... like build relationships and stuff. And sometimes you think to yourself, like, okay, I got to hook them up with something. But you're going to take a loss, And I always feel like, are they taking a loss or are they just, do they have it like that?
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is this, is like when I first got started, even now, I don't really spend a whole lot of money in marketing. Yeah. So I feel like anytime we bless somebody, and even in the early days when I was giving away free stuff, to me, I was just chalking it up to marketing costs. Like I'm not running Instagram or Facebook ads. I'm not doing other means. So it's like at the bare minimum, if I give some free stuff away, even if it's a couple $100, hey, so be it. The one thing I wish I would have done is I wish I would have started a YouTube during that era, because it was just so much cool interactions I was getting with such big people. Mm-hmm. And like, even though we're reaching even bigger people now, I feel like people would even appreciate it more like when I was in the trenches,
the growth.
Yeah, because I came across you already now, like when you have the store and everything. Right. So it's like, it would have, like, obviously I see the hustle, I see the grind and everything, but if people would have seen that, it would have been crazy. Like, it's just like, wow, what he came from, you know what I mean?
Yeah, people love to see the growth. Like, it's just a thing, like, because it just proves, like, the viewers, like, shit, this is where I started, this is where I'm at.
It's kind of like this podcast. Like, one day we're gonna have our own studio, we're gonna have our own space, and people are gonna be like, damn, they used to do this shit at the house, It's
part of your story, and I feel like even now that's kind of like another reason why I really want to get more connected with the city, is because when I first got started, again, it was kind of like a me versus everybody mentality, which at the time it made sense. Now, like, to me, I'm like, I don't want to have that. I want to break down doors. I want to break down walls. I want to work with people that maybe I haven't worked with before. I want to meet people that maybe I haven't, before. Even going to events, like y'all brought up, like the hip hop vintage, and stuff like that. Like, I want to be outside, and as long as as long as it fits within,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But it's good. It's good that when you came out, like, you didn't fall in that, like, lifestyle, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of like already knew that you had something in mind. Did you have that goal?
So I'll be honest, it really clicked. I had a famous YouTuber from Brazil. His name is John Vlogs, and major shout out to John Vlogs. And John Vlogs, he had, like, at the time, I think maybe 2 million on YouTube. Now I think he's at 7 or 8 million. And he's like massive in Brazil. But when he came over, and like thinking about like the moment of him hitting me up and just coming to my house, and then he comes a second time and brings his mom, it was just kind of like, I felt like I'm on something really special, And I'll be honest, it really didn't hit until I linked up with Jay Prince Jr. Now I know a lot of people feel a certain type of way about him. You know, he's with Rap A Lot Records.
Yeah.
You know, one of the sons of Jay Prince. But really, he gave me a stamp that really like put me into a whole nother echelon. And so when Drake did the song Mob Ties, I love that song. I mean, it's a great song. And I started noticing that Drake put out a shirt that said Mob Ties, and it sold out instantly. And I'm like, man, the branding behind this has big potential. So I hit up Jay Prince Jr. and I'm like, yo, we should turn this into a streetwear brand. He's like, all right, you know, send me some ideas. What do you think? And I'm like, well, the first thing we should do is we should do like a one-off special engagement pop-up event. He's like, done, let's do it. So we did it at the spot called Vogues Studios, right? Like a few doors down from Johnny's. It's funny how this happened. So when we did that event, man, a bunch of people came, and it had a lot of motion. And then boom, the event's over, and then it's like, all right, Monday rolls around. What am I gonna do next? So a year passed after that. 2019, I hit him up again, and I'm like, yo, we need to do another one. He's like, bet. He's like, where you think? I was like, I picked the last spot, right? I was like, you pick this one. He goes, what do you think about Johnny Dangs? And I'm like, bro, Johnny's gonna want too much money. He goes, let me handle that. You know, when Jay Prince Jr. says, let me handle that, I said, all right, respectfully, I'm gonna let you handle that. So I got the call a week later that we were gonna do it at Johnny Dangs.
You mean as in like venue wise, right?
Correct. Yeah. So for people watching that may understand that, yeah. So Johnny Dang's store at the time where we're located is on the whole second floor of his building. So when we're about to do this pop up, and I go to kind of like scout the location, it's empty except an orange couch. Like, it's one of those orange couches you may see on like a casting video. You know, And I was just kind of like looking around like, why is this place empty? But again, the full circle moment hadn't happened yet. So once we do the pop-up, around 3,000 people converge on this pop-up within 6 hours. Within the first 30 minutes, Johnny pulls me to the side. And Johnny knew where my shop was. He knew it was at my condo. He's like, where are you doing your store right now? I'm like, I look at him like, talk to me, Johnny. He goes, you should put your store here. And I'm like, man, you know, I'm not you. You know, I'm an up and coming business. You know, we gotta, you know, work with me, and I'll work with you. And so he gave me a chance. And then of course COVID hits in 2020. So instead of getting in January 2020, I didn't get until June 2020. But I mean, look at it now. We've been there over 3 years. You know, we've logged 10.7 million in sales, which I feel like is incredible from the condo.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
say that again. What?
Yeah, just for everybody watching this right now. I started this business for my condo with $3,000 and built it into a business that did 10.7 million in sales in 3 years.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow. I appreciate that. And I don't like say that for like clout and stuff.
Yeah.
This is more about the positivity side.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
when people think that like, yo, this guy's a 2-time convicted felon, right? He had everything stacked up against him. All the doors closed. It was up to me to like bust the doors down, find a lane that I felt like I would be good in, find something that I feel like would bring value to the culture, the community, and then kind of put my own spin on it and just see how it went. And that's kind of how like it all went.
Yeah. And with that being said, we're going to go on a quick break and we'll be back.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
And we are back. So, you know, we mentioned a little bit of, you know, like your growth or whatever. Do you want to touch on like his upbringing?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on it, but I kind of want to know like how, obviously with Jay Prince Jr. Was like the initial, after that, is that when like people started coming in like celebrities, or was it before?
Well, no, so I had the celebrity before because like for me, my really good relationship was with Maxwell Cream. Now I've known Maxwell for over 12 years. You know, Sauce Walker, we date back to like 2015, 2016. So even before like the big stamp from Jay Prince, you know, I was still getting some pretty cool people, you know,
coming through. And this is just you reselling them.
Merch, literally. I literally built a whole following with no podcast, no YouTube, literally just on Instagram stories, posting it up, you know, getting stuff that people liked, and then
like just brand merch.
Absolutely. Right? And I only started with 6 brands when I first started. You know, nowadays, now at the shop, we probably have 20, 30 plus brands and local brands. But
are they like, what is it called?
Consignment?
Consignment?
So I would say now we have a consignment program now. When I first started, I owned everything.
So you would buy it and then resell it.
Absolutely. You know, now because the spot we're in now is 3,500 square feet, we do a little bit of consignment. I would say the store now is probably like 75% ours, 25% consignment.
Okay.
Just so we can like fill up extra
streetwear,
room.
right?
Absolutely, absolutely. But at some point, you know, in the way I'm looking at numbers and stuff, it'll probably go even slimmer on the consignment. I just like still doing consignment because at the end of the day, like, we're helping other people out in the city too that may not have a certain outlet or a platform in order to make those sales. They can come just drop it off. It's nice and easy. You know, my guys are really good about intaking stuff, and we sell things pretty quick, you know. So
yeah.
I kind of want to know, like, what's like the craziest or coolest interaction that you had? Like,
I'll give you both. So craziest interaction was when I was 2018. And at the time, Tekashi 6ix9ine was going crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so I had a buddy by the name of Concept P. And Concept P is a famous producer from Houston. He produced the song Cuda by 6ix9ine.
Okay.
And the one with Tory Lanez. Well, long story short, I hit him up and I said, yo, if 6ix9ine ever comes into town, this is before all the stuff that happened with 6ix9ine.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, if 6ix9ine ever comes into town, like, bring him by the shop. I'll show him love. So I'm inside the shop doing whatever, and like my phone keeps going off, but I'm doing something, and then it's still going off. And one of my bros like, "Yo, this guy named Concept is calling you." So I'm like, "Oh my god!" I didn't know he's with 6ix9ine. I'm pick up, I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" He's like, "Yo, I'm with 6ix9ine right now. Where you at?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm at the shop." And then he's like, "Yo, we're gonna come pull up." So like I tell my people, and at the time, you know, I wouldn't say like immature, but like I handle things a little bit differently. So as soon as I got that, like I went on Instagram and I was like, special guests come in, like eye emoji, rainbow emoji. And next thing I know, like all these kids are running up to our store, like, where's he at? Where's he at? And then when 6ix9ine came, you know, everybody's going crazy. We had to like make him sit Indian style in the hallway because I was inside of like this little office complex.
Yeah.
So 6ix9ine pulls up, and he is with Treyway. He's with, you know, the head guy.
Yeah.
His name's Shotty. And so we walk him in, I'm giving them my high energy, and 6ix9ine's like, yo, I love your energy, bro. Like, as soon as we walked in, it wasn't even about the merch. As soon as we walked in, the first thing he did was give me a social media drop. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm like, damn, he didn't even ask for shoes or anything first. He got straight to it. So this was also Jay Prince Jr.'s birthday weekend, right? And Jay Prince Jr. had a sold-out show with Moneybagg Yo and Black Youngster. So I told Junior, because, like, for somebody like him, because again, I'm grateful for him too. You know, you don't just get this guy a gift card, right? You know, so I'm like, yo, come pull up. I'm gonna bless you with something dope for your birthday. So of course, while 6ix9ine's in my store, Junior calls me. Hey, I'm outside. So I go up to 6ix9ine and them. I'm like, yo, you know who Jay Prince Jr. is? Like, yeah. I'm like, hey, he's here. Let me go grab him real quick. I'll be right back up. So I walk outside. Junior's in this badass white Ferrari. You know, dap him up, give him a hug. Man, happy birthday, my brother. And before we walk up, I'm like, yo, before we go up, just to let you know, 6ix9ine's upstairs. He's like, for real? I'm like, yeah. He goes, he blows out his vape. He's like, all right, bet, let's go. So like we go upstairs. Now this is where things get crazy. Like 6ix9ine didn't have to really do anything. The main thing is it's just a sign of respect, right? And that's as simple as, yo, what's up? So when Junior walks in, 6ix9ine them don't even like say what's up to him. So when I seen that happen, I'm like, okay. So then what I did was, instead of like going back to 6ix9ine, I shook. This is Junior's first time at my shop. So I just walk him around. But I purposely take a while, right? Just because I want them to wait. So like as I'm doing this, Treyway finally comes up to me, pulls me on my shirt. He's like, yo, can we go in the middle room and talk for a sec? I'm like, yeah. So he goes, yo, what are we going to do for me and 6ix9ine? And I'm already kind of in my head, I'm like, you and 6ix9ine? I'm like, but I get it. He came with him. And you know, it's part of the whole thing. So I'm like, well, I already had something, you know, planned for him that I was going to bless him with. And but then, you know, Shotty, you know, when I went outside to go get Junior, they had picked out like $4,000 in shoes. Well, I'm still an up and coming business, no matter who it is. Yeah. Maybe unless it was Drake, we weren't gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And even then, I don't know. Even if it was Drake, I don't know if, you know, that's a lot of money, right? Yeah.
It's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a business at the end of the day. So when that moment happens and Shotty pulls me to the side, I guess Junior's really good at reading body language and stuff. Obviously, you know, being in the street and stuff, and he sees it, and like, and when I left the room with Shotty, and not that I was like mad or anything, Junior's like, let me talk to you too. And he goes, yo, what's going on? I'm like, man, they trying to get like $4,000 or $5,000 pairs, you know, worth of shoes. And Junior understood that, like, you know, with him coming by, you know, with 6ix9ine coming by, that like it's like a promo thing too. So like we got to give him a little something. You know, he's like, well, what are you trying to give him? And I was like, really, just between me and y'all, first time I've ever said on camera, we were just gonna give him a pair of used Yeezys and a used Supreme Scarface jacket, which still probably, that time is before like Yeezys kind of came down. The shoe was like a blue tint pre-owned, which is still like $400 or $500, and the Supreme Scarface jacket like $400 or $500. It was a little under $1,000, but it was out of my own pocket too, you know.
Yeah.
So he's like, just you know, pack it up. You want me? He's like, you want me to stand behind you? And then I was like, yeah, if you want. And he goes, or you want me to whisper in his ear? And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, because I already know, like,
no thanks.
I don't. And that's the thing, like, I don't want no weird static stuff, because I'm just meeting 6ix9ine for the first time too. So Junior comes behind me, and I give 6ix9ine the stuff, and it's cool. But what makes it crazy is because that moment happened the way it did. When Junior has his birthday party, 6ix9ine shows up, and he wants to, like, I guess, come in the club or whatever. And Junior basically was like, yo, if you had anything to say, you could have said it to me at the shop. You know, you don't promote, you don't perform. You know, basically, you can't come in here. So then he goes on the Breakfast Club, the famous podcast, famous radio show. Yeah. And he basically, like, starts talking mess about Junior on the Breakfast Club. And in that interview, he also was like, you know, the guy with the shoe store, this dude with the shoes. He wouldn't say my name, which I get it. He probably didn't want to give me clout. It's all good. But because of what he did there, right, it obviously upset a lot of people, because I mean, he was talking pretty aggressive. Yeah. So Junior pulls up to South by Southwest. 6ix9ine is the headline performance for the World Star Showcase, the World Star Hip Hop Showcase, which was the big show for that year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Junior shows up literally with 100 people to the show, because they know the people at World Star. So basically, and this is crazy too, 6ix9ine doesn't perform because obviously Junior's there with 100 people. So he got his front end money. He didn't get his back end money. Well, this ended up coming out in the documentary. 6ix9ine called Shotty and was like, bro, like, I'm out in Texas. Like, you supposed to be the biggest blood, you know, and you letting me basically just get violated in Texas. But the way he talked to Shotty was pretty aggressive. And then Shotty basically gave the green light that, like, yo, 6ix9ine's talking crazy to me. You know, we're going to have to handle him next. So really, I hate to say it, but that moment that happened at my shop led dominoes that ended up leading to 6ix9ine falling out with Treyway, which ended up being the whole shit that we see now. So that was the craziest moment. Damn, that's... Yeah. And again, it's just the politics of the situation. Like, there's a lot of things that I've been privy to, whether it's good or bad, that is... It's kind of mind-blowing once you replay it in your mind. Like, yo, like that
you look back and you're like, oh, shit.
Right. Because that could have really went crazy. Because, like, even in the interviews talking, like, you know, we were in the shoe store. We were strapped. And, like, I'll be honest, he wasn't strapped in our shop, you know? Yeah. But it was what he wants to tell people, you know? But that moment was really, really crazy, though.
Yeah. And that's crazy because it's just, like, ego, right? Like, a lot of things could have just been smooth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
I mean, just the what's up would have been like...
Right. And honestly, like, 6ix9ine wasn't even a bad dude. Like, when he came, like I said, he came in, gave the promo. He was hella cool. Like, I ain't gonna lie, at the time, I really liked his music. It was real energetic. It was that classic New York sound. Energy. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, we were all like, even when I first met him, like, dabbing, he's giving me a hug. Like, man, I love this dude. Like, it was such, like, positivity, but... You know, I'm not saying just because Junior came that it took away from the positivity, because at the end of the day, like, they should have been respectful. I mean, you know, you're in Houston, this guy's walking in, y'all knew who he was. I asked y'all if y'all know who he was. Y'all said yes, and it's his birthday weekend. You ended up wanting to go hang out at the club with him afterwards. So it was like that one little moment, just a simple, would have saved all that. Yeah. Who knows what would have happened if that handshake would have happened, to be honest.
That is true.
Damn, that's wild.
I know. So what about, like, the coolest? Like, that was the craziest?
That was the craziest. Right, cool. That was the craziest. I would say the cool...
All because of you.
Yeah, right? Oh, no. You know, like, even now, like, I don't have any... you know, with what happened, at the end of the day, you know, 6ix9ine's gone into a whole nother direction. You know, being, you know... Because now being, like, a Mexican artist is such a big thing. I mean, look at Peso Pluma and these guys. Yeah. You know, he went and found a lane. He got away from the negativity. Granted, you know, he burned a lot of bridges in the process. But at the end of the day, it's part of my history. That moment, you know, I still look back at it, is super crazy. I would say, like, the coolest moment for me, I mean, there's so many cool ones. I would say probably the moment with Johnny, because at the end of the day, me growing up listening to the song Grills, you know, listening to Paul Wall and Chameleonaire, like, Johnny is still to this day so intertwined, like, symbiotic with the culture, to have him decade or 15 years later, after I knew who he was, like, pulling me to the side, like, yo, you should put your shop here. I feel like that one's really cool. And then I had a really other cool one. So I don't have kids, like I told y'all, but I'm an uncle to 2 beautiful nieces. Shout out Lainey and Haley. I love y'all.
You were just with them, right?
I was just with them in Dallas. But my sister surprised me and brought them to the shop. And for me, from the outside looking in, seeing the new era, the new generation, and seeing their cute little faces and them running around, and Lainey, who just turned 4, she's the older one. She's asking different stuff. Like, that was a real full circle moment for me, and I would have to say that was probably one of the coolest moments besides the Johnny interaction.
Yeah. And that's real cool.
That is,
because like I said, like I don't have kids, so I really just live like vicariously through my sister and those kids.
That's how it was with us too. Whenever with my older niece, right? Like we didn't have kids, so we were just like enjoying life with her, but then now we have our kid, and he'll sit on the podcast and he'll just like start like put the headphones on and he'll just listen to himself talk, because I told you that you can hear it or whatever. Right. But that's dope though.
I love being an uncle. It's one of the highlights of my life so far is being
You're
an uncle.
Funkle?
I'm definitely the Funkle.
I've never heard that. Like,
no, that's
the thing.
That's my nickname with them. It's funny she said that. I surprised them in Dallas. They didn't know I was coming. I came for Lainey's birthday. I flew out the same day and flew back the same day because I didn't want to miss it, right? And cause my mom and dad were already out there, and they told her that they told the girls I wasn't coming. So then like when I at the door and their like faces light up and they open the door, they're like, oh, they give me a big hug. I'm like, okay, it was worth the whole flight.
But your parents are here.
Yeah. So that's actually a crazy thing with my parents. And so my mother's Jewish, right? My father's from Louisiana, complete polar opposites, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the grandson of Holocaust survivors, right?
Oh, wow.
So both of my grandparents, my mother's parents, survived the Holocaust. They lost all their siblings. They came to Houston. They started a life. They opened a sandwich shop that was right near the Summit where the Rockets used to play, right in Upper Kirby. So like the way I look at it, where I'm at, and I wish they were here to see it. I talk to my mom about it all the time. I wish they were here to see this. I know that they're smiling down on me right now, but watching them growing up and watching like my grandfather, an older white male, hug black people, Hispanic people, shake their hands and give them the same respect he gave everyone else. I feel like that was what a lot of things that I noticed, right? And like I even incorporate into my business now. Like I don't care the color of your skin, your gender, who you like, who you love. At the end of the day, we're all people, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I did learn a lot from them. And like their whole story is crazy, being Polish immigrants coming here with nothing,
and then dealing with everything that happened, like that's crazy.
Yeah, so that's like a really crazy part of like my upbringing.
I would have never thought that.
And it's crazy because we hear a lot about like our people, which is like crossing the border and coming over here and starting, but it's like obviously like your culture is different, and it's like they have a different history, so it's kind of crazy to hear that.
Right, because I mean, you see like a lot of I guess you call it my people, white people, like they're like, oh, immigrants should come here the right way, but like the way I look at my mind is like, I mean, my own grandparents had to come here on a boat. They were immigrants. Like who's it to me to say that someone who wants a better life and wants to cross that border because they want to start a family or they're trying to get away from a bad situation, what makes them any less than when my grandparents hopped on a boat and came over here to get out of a bad situation,
Yeah. I feel like it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
Well, now it is for sure. Now it is for sure. Yeah,
because I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I mean, what people had to go through back then,
Oh
like,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, they went, they had to go through Ellis Island, get a new, because their last name was Silberstein, and now when you Americanize it, Silverstein, so and then they lost a lot of like their records. Like even to this day, we really don't know the true age of my grandfather and grandmother.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, that is kind of.
So it's only you and your sister.
That's it. Just me and my sister, my mom and dad, same mom and dad. And they've been together for 30 plus years. And sister graduated from A&M, college degree. Was kind of like the black sheep of the family. I went to UTSA in San Antonio from 06 to 09. Didn't finish, still have 55 hours left of college to finish. Then I went to prison, came out of prison. I started selling motorcycles, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there selling Ducatis and Yamahas. I never rode a bike in my life. I'm sitting there, number one sales guy, and never rode a motorcycle in my life. So that also tells you, like, as long as you have passion and energy and you take care of somebody and do good business, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you also have to have like that hustle mentality, like. You want the money, you got to make your money. Like,
right. And I was just in a situation where like I came out and it was like, I didn't come out of prison at like 19 or 20, I came out at 26. So it's like now I'm getting closer to 30. A lot of my friends and family, they all have kids and businesses and degrees, and like, what's Mike doing? I got like a little paid off car. Luckily I had paid off that car, you know, paid off car to my name and nothing else. I came out, you know, part of my like the stipulations and parole, like I had to stay at my parents' house for a little bit. You know, I think that was only like 6 months, and then I moved right back out, you know?
Yeah.
And I had to just get it.
Damn.
Yeah, no, that's true.
What was did you feel any pressure from your parents, or do you think they were like, fuck, Mike? Or
you know, the thing is, like, I would say leading up to the day that I got sentenced, that definitely a lot of pushback from them. But then when I came out, it was almost like, hey, you either can, because the statistics are against me, right? Like, I'll never forget when I was in prison, they set us in a group of 20 people, right? And they're like, guys, I want y'all to look around at each other real quick. And we all looked around and we're like, all right. And they're like, just so y'all know, only 2 of y'all won't be coming back to prison per the statistics. And I'll never forget, I looked at one of my buddies and I'm like, I ain't coming back. He's like, I ain't coming back. Then I had another guy that was cool with there. He's like, I ain't coming back. Well, he had went in and out a bunch of different times. But me and that one dude, we actually ended up staying cool, you know. And he ended up going to college, ended up dating his professor.
Oh my God.
having a kid and getting married, you know. So like, and shout out to my boy Carrick, you know. Like when we were locked up, you know, and this was a different time too. You know, nowadays I heard that they're trying to get like ACs, you know, air conditioning inside TDC. But like when I went in, no air conditioning. You know, like when I first went in, it was the realest moment ever. They had a thing that showed like the temperature. It was like around 110 degrees, and so they would come around with a cup of water, and you get a cup of water and a cup of ice. They do it every 4 hours, and like literally when they come around, I'm thirsty, so the water I drink, but the ice I throw it on the bed, and then I would just lay on the bed, and you had about like an hour, 2 hours, and then your body heat, and then the temperature heats the ice up, and now that water is hot, so then you're back up again. So it was pretty crazy. Something out of a movie too, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and so for me, it kind of clicked. Like, yo, it's either, you know, you keep going down this dark, you know, road, and you may make some quick money here and there, but what type of legacy are you gonna leave behind?
Yeah.
And so like I feel like for me it was the synonymous fork in the road, right? So it was either go to the left or the right, and luckily, you know, I went the right way. You know, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do at first. You know, I had a music studio for a little bit. I had, You're
a rapper too, or what?
No, I just recorded but it was crazy. It was like a little turnkey studio operation. Mm-hmm. It was at the Arena Towers off 59 and Fondren, and I was on the 6th floor, and it was called Audio Blueprint, no E in blue. And I had bought about $25,000 in equipment, and it was just like a little turnkey operation. It was a lot of fun, but I got tired of sitting there till 5, 6 in the morning, respectfully recording people. I just didn't feel like, they weren't like superstars. This was, again, just a business, And then I got the call from a guy that I was locked up with in prison. He actually posted on my Facebook wall, and he goes, "Yo, come sell motorcycles." And so I deleted the comics. I didn't want anyone to see it. And his name was Fabio. I hit Fabio up. I'm like, "Yo, bro, sell motorcycles?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm at Team Mancuso Power Sports." And I'm like, "Bro, wait. Team Mancuso, the one where?" He goes, 59 in Fondren. Dude, look outside my window from the studio. It's right there. Uh-huh. So, the next day I went over there, and I'll never forget when I walked in, I smelled the oil, the gas, the tires. My heart's racing. I'm like, this is dope. So, he goes, "If you want a job, you can have a job." I sold all the equipment, and I did that for over 4 years. Then I worked for Harley Davidson for a little bit. And then I'm like, yo, I'm tired of being in the heat with these bikes and bringing them out. There's got to be something better. So then what's the next thing? Cars. So I worked for Central Houston Cadillac. I started selling cars, doing that stuff. And then when that started turning, I was like, man, I'm getting tired. I'm not a morning person. I'm not trying to be like that guy to tell y'all, don't be waking up early, get on your grind. For me, it just doesn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up around 11, 12 o'clock every day. I know y'all probably don't get that luxury, being
God.
parents. Being parents, I know being
don't
parents.
Have
kids.
Yeah,
right? So for me, I some people get into business because they want to make money. Me, two things. I didn't want to work for someone, and I didn't want to wake up early anymore. So I'm like, what can I do? I was like, I want to get back in the industry, right? But now everyone can buy studio equipment. I mean, you can get good mics, a laptop, and do it right here, like how we're set up like this, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, who's doing fashion? So when I started looking at fashion, the first thing that caught my eye was Drake and Justin Bieber were wearing this brand called Supreme. I always knew about Supreme, but I wasn't a skate dude, right? So I never really appreciated it. But when I looked at the business model of it and was like, all right, $42 shirt, and then you can resell it for $100. I'm like, boom. I'm like, that's dope. So I was like, this has big potential. And then plus, celebrities like this stuff.
Yeah.
So like, man, from like a marketing aspect, you could fuse the two together, sell cool stuff, and interact with cool people. Let's try it. So of course, talk to mom and dad. Hey, I think I'm about to go sell clothing. My mom's like, what? She goes, you're gonna be in your mid-30s, 40s coming up. You think you're gonna have like a wife and kids, and you're gonna be selling clothes. And she even says this. I'll never forget what you said. She goes, because I said, if I don't do this, someone else will. Now, obviously, now you can count 10, 20 resale stores just in Houston alone.
Yeah.
But at the time, I got in at a really, really good time. 2016 wasn't a whole lot of motion in Houston when it came to. You had, Sneaker Summit, which shout out to them. Kind of like the cornerstone of the resale style, because they really kind of started like around 2004, 2005. They just did events first.
Okay.
So then it kind of just snowballed. And. Now even looking back at it now, it's.
So my one of my questions is like, when you decided to go into the fashion, where would you buy your stuff?
So in the beginning, I literally was just buying off the internet. So when Supreme does drops, they do it every Thursday at 10 a.m. So I set my alarm for 9:58. I'd have my credit card information copy and pasted, ready to go. As soon as it went on there, like some stuff would sell out in your cart, and you'd have to read back. But then sometimes I'd check right out and be like, boom, I just got me 10 shirts. Or
because they sell out fast.
Yes. Now, I'll be honest, Supreme's in a little bit different era now than what it used to be, because now it's owned by VF, Vanity Fair, which is like a multi-billion-dollar conglomeration corporation type of thing. So, they want to get their money's worth, that they invested, so they put out a lot more merch now. But back then, it was
very limited.
It was owned by James Jebbia. That's who's the founder of Supreme. Whatever they made, and if whether you could get online or get it from the store, which that's the next thing is once I found out that you could buy it in store, this was kind of a cool era. I was like, I would actually take my mom with me to have our moments, and so I could have bonding moments with her. Yeah. And I'd fly her out to LA. We'd go hit the Supreme store, OVO, because you only can get usually one of each item per person.
Yeah.
So I bring her, bam, now we can get 2 items. My mom's friendly. Sometimes they'd give her an extra one or let her buy an extra one.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I took her to Complex Con. We're running around. She's in her 60s. But she loves it. And even to this day, even when I do stuff, even with famous rappers and stuff, she'll hit me up. We had E40 came by yesterday, right? So I posted that video up. My mom hits me and she goes, "That's so cool. You brought, you had E40. He's like Bay Area legend." And I'm like, "Mom, you know about E40?" And she knows about sauce, and of course our new favorite, that Mexican OT. That's our new favorite. And I'm really grateful for these interactions. Especially even the situation with me and OT, right? Is me and OT, the way we met it was kind of crazy, and now we hang out we're friends.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into his story and y'all's connection, let's go on a quick break, and we'll be back, guys.
Yes, sir.
We are back. So we were having some good conversations off camera.
Yeah, but I'll continue what we were talking about after. But let's talk about the podcast.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So Clearly Cultured. You were telling us, what was the original name?
It was called Straight Out the Closet.
Straight Out the Closet.
Bro, I had the backdrop and everything done.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Like literally ready to go. And in 5 minutes before our first interview ever, which was with my brother, that Mexican OT, he goes, because he's gonna do the drop for us, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, yo, what's the name of the podcast again? I was like, yo, Straight Out the Closet. And he kind of laughed a little bit, but he's like, that's dope. But I was like, is it dope though? He was like, yeah, no, it's dope. And I'm like, well, hold on. And then I like this drink called Clearly Canadian. It was a drink that I grew up with, very nostalgic, in this glass bottle. And shout out to my family at Clearly Canadian. And I looked at it and I was like, clearly. And I just wanted to parlay with the C. So I was like, Clearly Cultured. And I was like, I'm literally talking to OT. I'm like, hey, what about Clearly Cultured? He's like, no, it's pretty dope. I was like, Clearly Cultured. And he's like, Clearly Cultured. He's like, I like that. And this was 5 minutes before we're about to go live. Yeah. And I was like, all right, the podcast is no longer called Straight Out the Closet. It's called Clearly Cultured. He's like, I love it. So like even in our first interview, you can hear like Jazz brings it up like we just changed our name right before the interview. It was it happened on the fly, you know.
And they were cool with it too, with the name.
Absolutely, because like and shout out to J Mac and Jazz for even being cool with because I'm the one obviously who came up with Straight Out the Closet. I obviously wanted to accentuate my shop, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, like we're already shooting inside the shop. So I don't have to like keep force feeding that. We can do something different, shoot it at the shop, but I want to do something that embraced the culture, you know? So I felt like it was a better name.
so talk about your co-hosts, Jazz and J Mac. How did you like tell them to come do a podcast, or how did that come up?
It was a crazy story, bro. So actually what was supposed to happen, and this is the first time I ever said this on camera, the podcast was actually not even supposed to be with them. It was supposed to be me and Johnny. And we were going to do a podcast together, right? So J-Mac and Jazz actually always showed me love, and they would come by the shop. Like Jazz loves fashion, you know. She's got like this really bubbly, awesome personality. So she loves shoes. She loves drip. She, you know, I'd give her the show when she comes by, you know, with my high energy. You know, what up, Jazz? I got the voices of the city in the building. You know, do the videos and like we built this real strong connection. So then once I started talking to Johnny about doing the podcast, and then I kind of saw that obviously, you know, Johnny's a GOAT, man, you know. It's hard for him to commit to doing, I mean, I just wanted an episode a month, but seeing how much he travels, like even today, right? I was supposed to see him because he's redoing the entire building. He did like $100,000 renovation. It's going on right now. They're doing it even tonight. Come tomorrow, the shop's gonna look different. By the way, y'all gonna see it. But Johnny literally left to Dallas today to go present Drake a brand new grill. A one-of-a-kind grill, bro. I'll talk about it.
Well, Drake is gonna he's performing Monday, right? Here?
It's Sunday and Monday. So I'll be at the Monday show. I may go Sunday. I don't know. It's, you know, with the concert stuff nowadays, bro. Like I love it just because I love Drake. You know, I love his music. I love the personality and what he brings to the culture. But like I don't really get like as flashy as it used to be. Like I can just go one day and be cool with it, you know. But going back to what we're and sorry I went kind of
you're fine,
off subject. But so when I seen that it would be hard for Johnny to commit to doing an episode, I was like. I pulled J-Mac. It was really J-Mac I asked first. I'm like, man, we want to do a podcast, bro. Would you be down to do a podcast? He's like, absolutely. He goes like, me and Jazz were kind of doing one during COVID, you know, but we want a third person. And I was like, bro, we could do it here. I have production now. And my guy that we have hired shooting all this professional stuff for the closet, we could backdoor and do it. And because he used to shoot TV. So he knew how to set everything up. So J-Max, I bet. Well, let me tell you, this was in 2022. All right, it took us a year to even make this idea happen and actually formulate it. And so this whole time, you know, every couple months, you know, he'd come by the shop and be like, "Mike, you bullshitting." He's like you know, J-Mac is like he does not mince his words. Like and when he locks into something, and like I said, one day we're gonna bring him on for an episode here. When he locks into something, that's why I love this guy. He's a true OG. When he locks into something, he's all about that. He is what we say, he's a man of his word. Yeah. So when I gave him my word that we were gonna do this podcast. And I kept kind of like
slacking.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was kind of the one slacking because, again, you know, my baby is the closet and my branding and the marketing and being the face of this business. So like this kind of came second nature to me, right? But then once I started seeing like, you know, hey, the podcasting would be very beneficial. Not only for the shop, but in its own lane, right? Because like we're getting all these cool people coming through, but what are we doing besides just shooting just like normal videos of them cashing out? What can we do to build these relationships, right? So the podcast in 2023 made way more sense to me than it did in 2022. People still had PPP money, like they was still cashing out crazy. So for me, it was like shit. Whether I'm doing a podcast or not, man, we ringing the bell, right? But then, like, not saying that business slowed down, but you start to adapt, right? Because, like, what's changed now, people still got money. Like, we got money, but what's changed is consumer spending, right? How they spend their money is different. So when spending starts to change a little bit, and then you have to adapt, and then I'm starting to having a little bit of more free time where I could actually focus and look into this, I'm like, yo, the podcast makes perfect sense, right? You know, at the end of the day, you're giving the people that kind of that behind the scenes feeling, and I already have a relationship with a lot of these artists, and so does J-Mac and Jazz, obviously. So for us, it made a lot of sense. And again, like just doing something separate from the closet, even though we're at the closet, doing something that's separate but kind of ties the two together, but then brings the culture and the city involved, you know, it made more sense. So then I finally hit J-Mac up, and I'm like, yo, we're going to do this damn podcast, and guess who we're going to do for interview number 1? He's like, who? I was like, what do you think about that Mexican OT? He's like, that Mexican. Oh, he's like, man, he's been going crazy. He's like, you want to do him number 1? Are we ready to do this? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I just bought all the mics. We got everything. Like, let's do this. You know, so like once that moment happened, like, I'll be honest, the rest is history. Now we just dropped interview 7 today, and that was with Kevin Holland from the UFC.
So my question is, like, y'all have a set schedule?
So we don't, because like honestly, when you want to work with artists, especially higher caliber artists, not just necessarily even Houston rappers, right? Like I was telling y'all, one that we're working on right now is I want to get one with Key Glock in. I want to get one with my brother Maxo Cream in. There's some D Baby, and you know we got Bun B. We're gonna have him soon. So like these guys like are super busy and have their own schedules. So for us, like, is no matter how excited we are and we want to run these interviews, and that's why I love having J-Mac involved in this. Again, that OG side, like, yo, Mike, chill. Like, Mike, my thing is, like, I know you want to blow this thing up quick, right? And that's why I was telling y'all, like, even when we did the Sauce Walk interview, right? J-Mac's asking these great questions about Sauce's family, you know, his mom, the dad, you know, and I'm just over here like ready to ask the $1 million question that I know that's going to go viral, right?
Yeah.
But like J-Mac says, you know, let's just do good interviews, no matter how long it takes, and let's lock into 1 year. 1 year. Doesn't matter how much this podcast brings in revenue-wise. Doesn't matter how much sponsorship, you know, ad money we bring in. Let's just do 1 year, lock in 1 year, and not even think about that. Yeah. So we're only at 4 months, you know, 4 months, you know, and so for me, it's like you can't rush the process, right?
No, yeah, for sure.
And no matter what you do, whether it's a podcast, a clothing store, selling bikes, selling cars, selling electricity, selling cell phones, whatever you're doing, right? Like you have to go through that process. Like I guess the one thing I always say, you know, into people that are younger than me is like you want to fast forward the movie, right? Because you want to see the ending, you want to see what happens at the end. But you're missing the best part. You got to let it play out, you know?
Yeah.
So like no matter how excited I get about like these certain names that I know that will get done, just got to trust the process, you know? So like even for this last one that we did with Kevin Holland, like this is the first non-artist that we've ever done, right? But for me, the way I look at it is like, hey, this guy is signed to the UFC, right? He's a major fighter. By the way, he's got a big fight on Saturday, tomorrow. And so, like, for me, it was about bringing something different in, right? Like, let's not just lean on rappers and artists. Like, we did an interview with Mona Leo from Houston. She's a super famous female artist. So and she was the first female that we ever brought in to do, you know, because it's like, we can't just have nothing but guys.
Yeah.
You know, just like on this podcast. Come on, you know, like, you're the queen of this, right? So it's like, you know, you gotta, it's the yin and the yang, right? Yeah. So it's like, you know, we don't want to just be on one side of things where it's like, okay, well, if it's not a famous rapper, like they're not going to talk to him. Like, no. Like, I want to talk to comedians. I want to talk to sports players. I want to talk to artists, you know, like, you know, certain fashion creatives. Like, I'm open really to anything. But in the beginning, obviously, we wanted to do, you know, rappers just because like, you know,
it's what's gonna
trends. It trends.
Yeah.
You know?
No, yeah, it's good that he did tell you that, and you were able to look at the bigger picture, right?
Right.
Because I feel like with us too, we do bring like different type of like people. Like we have gym owners, you know, we have like some artists. And then it's just a good mix, right?
Yeah, and then they're not all big, you know. We got starters, we got like people that are already like OGs in their field or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, you know.
I think one of the because I mean, I think I'm trying to think like, they don't have like a lot of following, like. You know?
But I mean, that's what I like about our podcast is like it's very local, and then y'all's podcast is very like high caliber. How you said high caliber people,
right.
Which is cool because a lot of I tell people a lot that at first I was watching and listening to podcasts that were from like LA, and you know LA is like the one that has like all the artists and big celebrities and stuff, but it's like it's cool that we have your podcast to do that on this side,
right?
And then we have our podcasts that are like the local stuff, you know. So it's like I don't know, bro. I'm just like really happy with Houston and just the stuff that people are doing now. And then,
I feel like I'm happy that Houston is becoming more supporting of each other.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, just so y'all know, I drove over 30 minutes to come here, and it was super wet outside too. You know, like I got a million other things I need to be doing, but it's like, but at the end of the day, again, shout out to J Mac. Got to be a man of your word, and I told y'all I was gonna come, and this to me was the highlight of my entire week, knowing that I was gonna come here because I don't do interviews, right?
Yeah.
So the only other interview I've ever did is I did on Kevin Holland has a podcast, and for interview number 1, they did me at SneakerCon Dallas because we had him out there. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like, hey, we want to do our first podcast, we want to interview, and I've never done an interview since. So like whenever we reached out, and I had seen, you know, I obviously seen y'all's episodes and seeing how y'all flow back and forth, I'm like, I'm really interested. Like I love their demeanor. I love the questions. Mm-hmm. I love, you know, how, you know, y'all respectful, but at the same time, like, you know, you let people tell their stories, but then you kind of like chime in and you bring your own side to it too. So like for me, it was special to come out here.
Yeah. Thank you. Honestly, we thought you were gonna cancel, right?
Yeah, well, because he called me earlier, and then I was like, well, it was raining bad, bro. Yeah. Like, and she's like, you know, it floods around here, and I'm like, man, that's true, but I'm like, it'll probably calm down.
When he was telling me, I'm like checking the weather. I'm like, well, it's supposed to stop at 5, so
that's see what I tell you. I told him that. I'm like, it's by 5, 6 o'clock, it should be good. And then once I seen like it really had stopped raining at Johnny's, I'm like, I'm getting in my car, I'm leaving a little bit early, and I'm trekking over here. I usually don't come on this side. I think y'all...
because it's way out of your way.
The only time I really come out like on like this way is like when I go to the airport to fly out, you know? Because it's like, you know, that 45 South, you know? But, you know...
That's crazy.
Hey, well, this street has like all the good taco spots, bro.
Okay, so are they gonna be open after this episode so I can go pick one out?
Hell yeah.
The only one there's only one that doesn't take that you can pay card and you don't have to get off. But the rest are nothing but cash.
Luckily I got cash in cards, so we'll be all right. Hopefully they have birria. That's like the new wave I've been on. I love birria.
Birria.
I know I'm pronouncing it like a straight up gringo, but you know.
No, dude,
she loves birria. Bro.
I love birria.
And honestly, bro, my mom, she's been making it too, right? So
ooh, handmade. Oh my gosh.
When she makes them, I'll hit you up.
Yeah, bro, we'll let you know, bro. We'll let you know.
It doesn't have to be about an interview. We can do it just for... Please. Hey, don't threaten me with a good time. I'm going to hold you up to that.
Hey, I'm a woman of her word.
Okay, so. There we go. I love it.
Going into, like, you know, you have your store. Now you have your podcast. So what do you think, like, okay, so y'all don't have like a set schedule. So how do y'all work that out? Because it's 3 of y'all.
So it's crazy how this works. So basically I have to work out with J Mac and Jazz, who on the radio, right? So that's a whole animal. Then I have my guy at my production who's not there every day of the week because he has his own stuff he has going on. So I only really get him 2 to 3 days out of the week. So I have to basically juggle between artists, J Mac and Jazz, and then production. So typically I like to shoot on Thursday or Friday. So, you know, but I mean, granted, Key Glock were to be like, yo, I can come Tuesday. Well, yeah, we recording on Tuesday. You know, we gonna make it work. You know, but like now Jazz, you know, she's doing stuff with, what's that, Audio Mac, you know, which is kind of like a SoundCloud. She does like this playlist radio for them. And she's also the DJ for Cash Page. And then J Mac, you know, they're on early in the morning. J Mac has to go to all these different events. So like for me, it's like it's like I know I'm tough on time, but these guys are really tough because they have the radio station that not necessarily requires them, but they want to do these things because they're the face and voice of the radio station. You know, 97.9. You know, arguably, you know, to me, it's the biggest radio station in Houston and Texas. You know, so like they got to go to these events. You know, me, I'm at my one stop shop. You know, I can kind of just. You know, I get there kind of late.
Your flexibility is more...
I have a lot more flexibility than they do, you know, even though...
That must be tough.
It's really tough. You know, I think we've gotten good about it now, but even like, you know, recently it was Jazz's birthday. She went overseas, you know, having fun, you know, at the beach. So she went in for the Kevin Holland...
she wasn't there, right?
I think she went to Colombia, right?
Yeah, yep. So she wasn't there for the Kevin Holland interview, and she wasn't there for the Sauce Walker interview, which she missed that one.
Yeah, I saw that.
We were shouting her out. She loves Sauce too, you know, and obviously we know any episode that I can have her for, I want her there. We want the whole team.
Yeah.
But like I told J Mac, in some occasions, you know, her schedule is probably the hardest one. You know, just because she has a lot of other engagements she's got to do. J Mac works with me a little bit more hands on because he knows like, yo, at the end of the day, like I'll be honest, I can run a whole episode by myself. But like when you watch an episode, right? hearing his voice, and like we were two way different people.
Yeah.
That's what brings that edge, right? So like when if one of us were just to do the episode, the edge
it ain't the same.
Yeah, you know? Like I even love having Jazz too, because it's like, you know, she's a female, right? We got the two guys, like, you know, that already is bringing a different side. And then she's like the new era, J-Max like the OG, and I'm just kind of like, I'm just here, you know? So like, so like it flows very well. And like whenever we were positioning this and coming up with a concept, the way I looked at it was just like that. It was like, yo, like, you know, this is the new era, the OG, and then like someone that's just kind of like coming into this, but not from the music side, but from the fashion side. Even though I had a music studio, like how I became well known was through the fashion angle, right? But at the end of the day, fashion and music are on the same wavelength, right? Even though on opposite sides of the spectrum, it's still on the same spectrum, you know? So like, I knew that this would work out well, but like I said, and to anyone that's watching this too, like when you first start posting videos, don't expect home runs, right? Yeah. Like even on the OT interview, man, I got blessed that this guy is super talented and goes crazy viral, and you know it brought a lot of traction immediately. Yeah. But like not every episode will hit like that. You know, he's just a special guy in a special moment that.
It's just like
it just happened.
He just has that like.
I'll be honest. In the history of me dealing with artists, it doesn't matter. They don't even have to be from Houston. I would say what I'm witnessing even firsthand with this guy is beyond special. It's something I haven't seen ever. And I'm talking about even when I had a music studio, even when I first started doing, you know, a Houston Closet at my condo, dealing with big artists. I have never seen someone blow up and have the traction like OT has ever. It is he's a what we call a unicorn. Yeah.
And because honestly, like I see a lot. I've watched honestly probably like almost all the interviews he's done, you know, they were all crazy, right? And but to see where he's at now, and just I started watching him. It's probably like maybe months before like he really blew up, you know. But what I get from the interviews and stuff, and y'all's interview with him, is just like he's super genuine, bro. I don't know, like something about him is super humble, you know. And at first watching his music videos before he did interviews, I was like, man, he's kind of crazy, you know. Like you
see him with that, like without the shirt on.
Yeah, and I'm like, nah, he's wild or something, you know. But nah, I literally feel like he's like a humble dude, and I want to sit down and talk to him too, you know. But I mean, just so it's cool to see where he's at and have a good head on his shoulders.
Man, he's got a great head on his shoulders, and even what he came from is crazy. You know, he lost his mother. Yeah. You know, his father was, you know, had been in prison before, and really how OT got started is his father used to have a lot of women come over to his house. And he'd have some of his homeboys, you know, kind of, you know, this, you know, you got wifey, so you don't know, but the guys who party know, you know, he's got the ladies, he's got his homies, they're all chilling. Well, these guys, like, he would have OT freestyle battle the guys. Yeah. And so, like, that was his beginning phases in becoming what he is now.
He was a kid.
He was just a kid, like, and his father was like, I heard like magic coming from his mouth, right? And then boom, you know, he was into sports and stuff. He wasn't even into like what he's into now, right? Yeah. And even then, like you talk to OT, he hasn't even really been taking music seriously, but for about the last 2 years. So if you think, like, imagine doing something and within 2 years you have the Grammys because the Grammys just posted him up on the Instagram, right? Oh, he's on billboards in New York. He's on a sold out tour right now that he's headlining that is featuring Peso, who has been rapping technically at a higher level longer than OT. Yeah. But still, and I love Peso's my brother, humbles himself to go underneath OT for his headline tour. Just so you know, like OT signed to Interscope Records. Like he's not small potatoes. Like this guy is, and I tell my guys, I mean, he's like the best thing since sliced bread. You know, like, you know, everything we throw up with this guy, he goes crazy. And again, I'm just grateful that I have like this really close relationship. It's funny, like when we first linked up, I was like, bro, we gotta go hang out.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask you, how did that even happen?
So it's funny, like, I'm wearing Hyde Park, Houston-based brand, love Hyde Park, and Hyde Park had a 420 event, and they're like, bro, you should come pull up. And I'm like, I'm gonna come. So it's funny ass story, bro. So I get there and I see OT wearing a hat, and and someone was like, I didn't even gonna say anything. Like, bro, you should go holler at him. He's starting to trend. And he's like, his name's that Mexican OT. And I'm like, man, I've heard about this guy. So I walk up to him and I'm like, yo, what's up? I'm like, my name is Mike. And he gives me dap, but he's real stiff, like in the way he did it and the way he's looking at me. And I'm like, yo, I own this spot called The Class. He goes, yeah, I know who you are. He goes, and I was like, man, you should come. You know, and I'm like, damn, he's kind of real stiff. I'm like, you should come by one day and I'll show you love. And he goes, man, I already been by. He's like, y'all ain't fucking with me. He said those exact words. I don't know if I can say that, but he's like, he's like, y'all ain't fucking with me. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, man, I came by there, and granted, you know, I wasn't as big, but like nobody said nothing to me. I'm like, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, my guys don't move like that. They're really nice and they're always hands on. Like, we're grateful for anyone who comes through our door. Yeah. I don't care if you're getting just an exotic pop or you're spending 10,000 on a bunch of shoes. And so like, again, because he's telling me this, I'm like, man, you know, I'm giving him this. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna tell, hear it from the horse's mouth, the owner of the shop. You come and see me, I'm going to show you hella love and give you an experience unlike, you know, then he starts softening up, right? So, like, boom, we take the picture. I threw up, like, the mob tie. I think he did it, too. But long story short, he ends up coming to the shop, and it's funny. So when he comes in and we do our video, like, right beforehand, in the video, I think I said something like, you know, got my brother that Mexico tea at the shop. You know, he didn't have a good visit on his first time, but, you know, he's like, yo, stop the video. And I was like, oh, what? He goes, man, I forgot to tell you, Mike. He goes, it wasn't your shop. I had the bad experience at. I'm like, bro, you were so stiff. Yeah. You were so stiff when I first met you. I thought you wanted to beat my ass. You know what I'm saying? He's not even like that. You know what I'm saying? But like I thought he wanted to whoop my ass, but in reality, it was
the wrong shop.
It was the wrong shop, dude.
Oh my god. I kind of figured that was gonna be like the thing, right? The thing, yeah. Yeah,
and literally we built from there, and we just started actually hanging out. And so like the first time we hung out, he calls me and he goes, "Yo, what are you doing this weekend?" And I'm like, I was like, "Shit, you tell me, OT." You know, you so I call him OT then. Now I don't even call him OT. Now I just call him Virgil. Like now we're like I even asked him like, you want me to call you Virgil or OT? He's like, bro, your family. He's like, just call me Virgil. So like, but at the time I was like, yo, OT, what do you want to do? He goes, you free Sunday? I'm like, yeah. I go, man, what have you been wanting to do, bro? I'll pay for whatever you want to do. He's like, man, no, I got it. I'm like, no, I want to pay for our first time hanging. He goes, bro, let's go to the Museum of Natural Science. So we go to the Museum of Natural Science, but on the way to there, luckily he hit me up before, and he's so good with time. Just so you know, even for our interview, he was 15 minutes early. He parked in the very back, so he didn't get in the way of customer parking. I couldn't believe how like structured this guy is. That's why he's so successful, by the way. He's very cognizant of time. So he's at the museum waiting for me, and I hadn't. And if he watches this, sorry OT, but I wasn't even in the car yet. And luckily he hits me up and says, yo, I fucked up my shirt. Can you bring me an extra large shirt? And I'm like, yeah, I got you. So I got him a Hyde Park shirt. I pull up, dude, and we walk and meet up. He's got no shirt on, cowboy hat on. We're at the museum, and like I'll never forget, this guy's looking over at him and was like, OT? What you doing at the museum? He's like, I'm just over here with my doggy. And that's what he calls me, his doggy. Like that's like, yeah, every time he even hit me up yesterday to show me these new rings he had just got. It's the first time anyone's even hearing about it. He got these new rings that says like Mexican across his hand. It's big old diamond rings and a Texas emblem on it. Like they're like super hard. Yeah. But yeah, like we have this really good interaction. Like we're real family oriented. He's real family oriented. I love his team, you know, B-Don and Greg Gates and all these and Drody and all these, you know, we're all just like a family. So like even, you know, the thing beep, do we have to do it?
You want to go to?
Do I have to? Do I gotta clap or what?
Wait, it went off already?
Yeah, head went off. But...
Oh dang!
See, I'm cognizant of that. I'm cognizant for y'all, man.
We'll be back, guys.
Yeah.
Yes,
sir.
There was a time, we're back guys, that we thought about getting a studio, right? But financially we weren't ready to take that leap, but we just wanted to get out of here.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck it, we'll do something.
We were looking at places, calling them, but in my head I'm just like, well, I'm not even fucking working. He's working with his dad, so like whatever he's bringing in is paying for what we have.
Right,
you know?
right.
There is no room for extra money to pay for something that's not bringing anything in yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, you're maximizing what you have, and it's no different than what I did initially with Houston Closet. It was like I would have loved out the gate to go be at Johnny Dang's, go have a 3,500 square foot spot, and go be, you know, on a whole nother level. But at the end of the day, like, that wasn't for me at the time.
Yeah, you weren't ready.
Right.
The time wasn't right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I maximize what I have just like y'all do, you know? And I feel like it's a special moment because then you can appreciate it, because then when you do go get that studio and you get the new cameras and you get the new lighting and you get everything that you want to get, and you look back in hindsight and you're like, babe, you know, we did this out of our house.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. Yeah.
You know, like, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Whenever Houston Press they came by my house, right, and it was crazy this had happened. Shout out to the Houston Press. They're the first major news people that ever wrote any article about me, and they came by, and it was the name of the article was how one man took over the resale market out of his 950 square foot condo. And, like, it was just a whole thing because they were impressed. They're like, bro, you've done all this out of here. And, like, I'm literally competing with big-ass stores, and I'm just a dude in his condo with some cool shit. And, like, the same thing with this is, like, you not necessarily that you're competing, but you have other podcasts out there that do have these big studios that have maybe a little bit of budget or have, you know, ad revenue behind them, you know. But for y'all, it's like, this is a special moment. Y'all are doing it, as I say, out of the trenches, you know? Yeah. And that makes it more organic, more genuine, and that's why people gravitate towards this. It's why they like listening to y'all, you know? It's because it's like they know, you know, they may not know exactly where you're at. Some people do, right? You know? But they can appreciate that, you know, y'all started this from an idea. And granted that you just told me that you're coming up on, 2 years? Yeah. That means you probably came up with this idea probably during the COVID era.
Was it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you know, it's so funny. People that watch, they know that this idea, we were at Hooters.
Oh, wow.
We were drinking beers and we're like just talking, and he's like, man, what if we do a podcast? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So then the idea, literally at Hooters, we just made our list and just fucking went from there.
And it's kind of unheard of, too, to have a husband and wife.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
Do it together, or any business arrangement. To have a husband and wife be so cohesive and make it work. I mean, to me, it's a special thing. You know, that's why I told y'all, like, don't worry about the initial views, the initial money, right? Just worry about doing good episodes and good content, because that's what people want to see. You know, it doesn't matter where you're at. You do inside of a house, out of a condo, doesn't matter where it is. If you're producing good content, you got a good heart, and you're promoting positivity, and you're letting people tell their stories. It's such a powerful thing. You know, like, for me, like I said, like, for me to come 30 minutes when I'm already been working all day, well, not all day, but most of the day, you know, like, I want to go home. I want to go work out. You know, I walk and run 6 to 7 miles a day. So, like, when I get home, my first thing I do, I put my hoodie on, I go on my walk. But I knew at Friday at 7:30, I'm coming here. So I'm great.
I appreciate you coming here, because I know I would have been like, I have to drive 30 minutes.
Yeah. And, like, of course, I'm on I-45. I mean, I'm on 45.
Oh, like, damn, shit, yeah, you know? It's like the worst.
But it's okay, because at the end of the day, like I said, you know, I believe in what y'all are doing too. You know, so the feeling is absolutely mutual on both sides. So it was very important to me to come here today. So.
No, we really appreciate those words, bro. Honestly, and then you use the word powerful, and we're just talking about that, like. We were talking about how this podcast is powerful in that way. You know what I mean? Absolutely. So it's like, it's I don't know. It's just pretty wild. Because, you know,
we're
grateful.
We're big on, like, you know, we say it on here a lot. Like, we don't gatekeep. We give you the knowledge. It's, you know, what is it? It's like when you're giving it for free. Like, it's
you're getting a free game.
Free game, yeah. And, you know, like, people have asked us, like, oh, what do you use to start the podcast? So I created on Amazon, like, a starter kit.
Oh, nice.
And it's just like, here, this is what we use. Literally, it's like what we're still using what we started with, right? And then you can just go buy it, you know.
The thing is like, at the end of the day, you can give somebody free game, right? But you have your own sauce. So no matter, even if you hook somebody up and tell them, hey, this is what you should do, it's a positive thing. But at the end of the day, you're still gonna do what you do regardless. Just because you tell them, hey, you should go buy this podcast equipment, and they go and buy it, doesn't mean that they're gonna in turn, you know, be above you or get to a level.
Yeah.
You know,
and if they do, then
so be it. Hey, it's a great thing, right?
Yeah.
Hey, at the end of the day, you know, hey, I helped this person get to that next level. You know,
there's room for everybody. So at
the
end of the day, it's whatever.
Before we went off on break, we were talking about What are we talking about?
OT.
OT. Yeah. So
we'll go back to him. So our first time ever hanging out, man, we went to the Museum of Natural Science. You know, like I said, it was crazy seeing this dude and just his, you know, that magnetic personality that he's got. And then afterwards, he wanted to go have barbecue. We would go and have barbecue. And so as the reason why for me, why I've been really, really hands-on, not only like with him and in the relationship and making sure like things stay good, is like I was in a similar situation with Don Tolliver before he blew up, right? And I love Don Tolliver. Major shout out to my brother, man. But with Don, I was going through some things with my business, and I wasn't able to be as hands-on. So then once he got the Travis co-sign, it was kind of like, well, who's Mike Mills, right? Respectfully. And that's cool. Like, I mean, he's a superstar, right? And I already knew, but like, I used to go, like, I'll never forget, dude, I was with his mom, and we were at the Ciroc showcase. He wasn't even the headliner. My brother Dice Soho was. And I don't know, I was like cheering for him in the audience. You know, it was like kind of like the same vibe I had with OT. So like in the situation with OT, knowing his trajectory, like it's super important for me, like not only to build this relationship, but to keep it fluid from both sides. Not just me feeling like, you know, because like I post a lot of content that, you know, because it does really good. OT, obviously he's trending right now, right?
Yeah.
But like I told OT, like when I post these videos of you, just so you know, I don't come around just to get this content with you. You know, even though I'm always shooting when I'm around him, right? Like I told him, I'm a clothing and shoe guy, right? When I post you, it doesn't really do anything for my business. I don't make money off of it either, right? I'm posting this because I feel like these moments are so special because I've never been around something so special like this in my life. And I feel like people want to see this. They want to see a different side than what you give them, you know?
Yeah.
And he like he always says, you know, I appreciate it, you know? And so like it's funny, like I was at his video shoot last week for the song OMG. It's about to come out. And he's outside, he's smoking, he's got his drink in his hand, and he just starts singing. So I turn my camera on with the flash banging in his, you know, banging, and he's just looking at me, and he's singing the song "Cowboy Killer," but just like straight a cappella. Like I haven't even dropped that footage yet. I got like so many unreleased moments with him.
Yeah.
Then like this other one, he's freestyling a song that he had wrote that's not out yet. He's got the beat on. He's freestyling, looking at the camera.
Is that the one from that one interview? He
no,
did it.
It's the one you have now on.
Yeah, it's the one I have on Instagram. I had the one on the interview. He actually the song Johnny Dang, before Paul Wall had hopped on it. That song had already been done for over a year, along with an accompanied music video that had already been done. So he was just showing that, like, hey, like even though this song's huge, like this wasn't something that just went like this. This is a song that I've held for over a year.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like that just speaks to like what we've talked about too, that like you can't rush greatness.
No, yeah, for sure.
Even that Mexican OT with the song like Johnny Dang that's over 20 million on YouTube right now, that is being heard all across the world. We're not just talking United States. I mean, there's people all across the world that know this song, right? But this is a song that he's already had done for a year. A video that was already done. They had to reshoot the video. I was sad I wasn't in the freaking video because I was at Hyde Park. I was at Hyde Park picking up the clothing, which OT was mad that moment happened because I was supposed to be in it because that part of the video is shot inside my shop.
Oh my god.
So yeah, like when Jody and OT were there, it was like, but it's cool, you know. It's in hindsight, it is what it is. I've got to be, you know, a part of a lot of other cool things. Like for the music video OMG, it was super funny. So the song OMG, it's basically like OT rapping about like messing with this girl and her sister, right?
Yeah.
Oh
So
my God.
which is like, you know, but you know, knowing OT, it's a really good song, and it's really funny too, right?
Yeah.
So we already had a girl there, and we couldn't find, like, Dai Soho and Trill Sammy were both there. They're gonna be in the music video as well, but they couldn't find another girl. So like they look at me like, yo, can you get another girl to come? And like sure enough, like if I hadn't found the girl, right, the video wouldn't have been shot. He was going on tour, meaning this video either A, wouldn't have gotten done, or wouldn't have got done for 2 more months. So like once I got the girl to come, you know, D Green Films, you know, the one that films all his videos, like, yo, Mike, thank you so much. You know, OT's super happy. It kind of like saved the day. But it's like little stuff like that. And then like even with him, you know, and I'll give y'all a little tidbit, because I told him about it. So not next week, but the week after, when Canelo Alvarez is a big fight.
Yeah.
He's fighting Charlo, when the Charlo brothers, and it's gonna be like one of the biggest fights in a long time. So I got reached out to by the president of the WBA, the World Boxing Association. So that's basically, he's part of the 3 major boxing organizations that run boxing, period. Without their stamps, big fights don't go down, right? So they're fighting for a couple of the WBA belts. So he hollers at me, goes, "Yo, Mike, can you get a custom shoe done for Canelo Alvarez?" I'm like, "Bro, of course." So I call Young Pony Boy, a designer from Houston, because again, I when you're family with me, I keep it within the family, right? So I hit Pony Boy up. I'm like, "Yo, like, bro, you're a Mexican designer. How would you like to be a Mexican designer doing a shoe for the biggest Mexican sports?" Because I mean, you have some other big ones, but I would say he's like the Michael Jordan of boxing.
Yeah.
He's the face of boxing, #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. Doesn't matter how we feel, on paper, he's #1, right?
Yeah. So
when I told Pony Boy, he's like, "Bro, I got you." Then by the next day, he had the design done. I sent it to Gilberto, the president of WBA. He freaking loves it, bro. So boom, as soon as he gives me the green light, now it's in production within 4 to 5 days, right? So now the shoes are supposed to land next week. So I'm having to fly to Vegas, right? And this is for Canelo, right? I'm flying to Vegas to go to the fight, to sit with the president of the WBA, to present Canelo his own custom shoe on video. We're going to film it and everything, right? And then I'm there for 2 days. I'm flying from Vegas to LA to go to OT's LA show because he wanted me to go. And that's like part of like what I'm saying about keeping that like relationship, and especially in moments that I know that are special. Like this is his first big tour. Like I wouldn't miss it for the world. I was supposed to go to the New York show, which is coming up this weekend, but it falls on the Drake concert, and I'm going to Drake Monday, even though he really wanted me in New York. I mean, OT loves Drake too. That was like even the podcast I said that's one of the he wants to work with The Weeknd and Drake. That's like 2 like the big artists he wants to work with, right? Which I mean, at the end of the day, who wouldn't? You know, it's a big stamp. But I'm flying out to LA just on my own dime, you know.
I was about to ask you.
Yeah, no, like the label, and like because at the end of the day, like when it comes to OT in this situation, it's like, well, who's Mike Mills? Like the thing is, he's still with a label, so like there's not really a whole lot I can bring that isn't already being done monetarily, you know. Yeah. And even then, they have professional videographers, but I have such a good relationship with management and with OT directly, with Virgil directly, that like it just makes sense. And like me personally, I want to go, and I love LA. And at least when I'm out there, I can go to Chrome Hearts and Supreme. I can make my money back. I mean, it's not even an expensive flight. I mean, right now flight prices have kind of came down. So when I was looking it up, I'm like, damn, from Vegas to LA is $120. Like shit, I'm there. You know, like I'm coming. You know, so his show's on October the 3rd. I'm super excited. You know, so I'll get to go see him.
Are you gonna be back by the 14th?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm only going to. LA is just like Vegas. I usually can't stay more than like 2 or 3 days. In LA, I'm only gonna do 2 days, just like Vegas. So 2 days in Vegas, 2 days in LA, and then I'm back home. I love the city. I love being here. I love being at my house. You know, I'm at a point where like I just like to relax. Like I told you, I don't drink at all. I don't drink no alcohol. I don't go to no clubs. It kind of
caught me off guard.
So so what do you do like on your off time?
So like literally on my off time, I love researching business and news. I love always being in the know with what's going on in the world. I do like working out. Like I'm not like, you know, but I like, you know, it's like good for the heart. Like for me, I like doing cardio. I like doing a little bit of weight training. Just you know, again, my age. You know, I want to keep looking young so I can look like y'all. You know, so you know, it's
honestly. Tell them your age.
I'll be 39 this year. November 9th. November.
That is so. I'm just like you.
Yeah, because you don't look 39.
Yeah,
bro.
Really
It blows my mind when I say that I was born in 1984. It blows my mind. Like, what were y'all doing in 1984? What were your parents doing? That's what I'm saying. What were y'all parents doing in 1984? You know, like y'all weren't even a thought yet. You know what I'm saying? You know, 1984. I think Ghostbusters had just came out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out a little bit after. Like I grew up in like a different era. Like we didn't have smartphones. We, you know, even internet. I'll never forget being in high school when you wanted to download an album, right? Like an album that just came out. You go on your 56K modem, beep, tick, 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 right? Okay, boom. Once it connected and you look like you had, okay, boom. You're on LimeWire, which like you're bootlegging the songs, right? And if you wanted to download 12, 13 songs, boom, it's in the K, it's downloading. I can listen to that album the next morning. It would take all night to
Yeah.
download, and then when I wake up the next morning, I get to look at everything. It was just like a different era, and I felt like
It's so funny because when I used LimeWire, it didn't take that long, but I still took a while.
yeah, I mean, like when I when I first was really getting on the internet and stuff, even like during the early eBay phases, right? Like we didn't even really have DSL modems, so it was really like 56K. Then once DSL came along, things started moving a lot quicker, right?
Yeah.
But it still wasn't like how it is now, you know. Like now, it's like crazy what you can do just on these, much less a computer.
So
you
why
know?
do you have 2 phones?
I got 2, you know.
I knew that
I mean, now is you gotta my life. You gotta separate. So like, you know, I want to have my personal side. I want to have the business side. And then because we don't have an actual shop phone, because like I would have to hire someone full time just to answer the phones, right?
Oh yeah.
So like but I still want people to be able to call if they have a question, if they want to know about a shoe, you know. Even like now, like even though like we're at Johnny Dang's, some people still will call me like, "Yo, where y'all at again? Y'all at Johnny Dang's? Are y'all like upstairs? Because we don't have a sign on this building yet."
Okay.
Which like we finally just got the green light on that like a week ago. So like that's the next.
So
thing.
it's an actual like its own building.
So the whole story with this building is crazy. So in 2016, Johnny moved in, but prior to that, it was a nightclub. It burned down to the ground, and this is word on the block. You know what I'm saying? Just because, you know, we got to tell people on the podcast. Apparently, the owner of the nightclub was, like, I guess, tied to a chair, and, like... some weird stuff had happened. And then so some of the people there at Johnny's claim that it's haunted in certain areas. They'll hear like doors closing and stuff. I personally haven't heard of any of that.
No, you have too much of a hyper energy that I can see you not even hearing shit. Like,
Yeah. Maybe I did. I just got too much going on. I'm just like not paying attention.
Like up there, you're like
and
it's kind of like Spaghetti Warehouse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Spaghetti Warehouse.
They said that. Like, I think like down, like there was like an area downstairs or something. That
there was like an elevator shaft that somebody fell down through, and they passed away or whatever, and then they covered it somehow. But we went, right? And then they took us upstairs, and they're like, "Oh, you know, this is the area, whatever."
It was closed, yeah.
But then we went anyway, remember? Yeah. And then a cup fell down. And we're like, "What the fuck?" Right?
Yeah.
Was that the AC or was that one of the ghosts? Was that Casper
or
what?
I don't know. But after that, I was like, "All right, it's haunted."
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So then for y'all, it was like y'all think, well, people say it's haunted, right?
I mean, some of the employees swear by it. The doors have shut and stuff. I mean, Johnny would be like, "No, man, no ghosts at Diamond Boys," you know. But I mean, me, I don't know. But that was what was told to me, was that, you know, it was an old nightclub that burned down to the ground, and Johnny got the property and built it from the ground up, and now it's this beautiful brick gold building. And like I was telling y'all whenever I got here, he finally just renovated the downstairs, like all the glass cases, the display cases, like because people leaned on it and stuff. They have cracks in them, so he spent like $100,000 and redid the whole downstairs. And even as I'm talking to y'all right now, they are in there installing as we speak, while Johnny's in Dallas with Drake. Like literally, a lot of the stuff that goes on is pretty crazy. Like how things happen the way they do.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, it gets done. Like this guy's got, you know, he has over 60 employees. Which is like, I think I have a lot with 4 employees just because of how much that costs every month, right?
Yeah,
but this guy's got 60, you know? Full production from the moment you come in and have an idea to when you want to, you know, like let's say you come in and say, "Yo, I want to get, you know, how I got my mob ties pinned," right? Well, they have to design it first, and then it turns into a 3D mold. Then from the 3D mold, then it turns into the cast. Then when it's cast, right? Then they got to put the you know, the gold and stuff around it, and then they got to hand set each diamond. This one has 3 rows of diamond. This one took like a week or 2 weeks, you know, and then this is just on a pendant. Think about like small rings or earrings and stuff like that. You know, it's pretty meticulous. And definitely during the COVID era, I saw a lot of crazy shit there, man. You know, there was times when Johnny would have like 10, 12 employees at one time getting COVID, you know, because they're working in the back together, you know. Like, Johnny was very stringent on having masks and stuff, but, I mean, COVID was COVID. You know, it did what it did.
Yeah.
You know?
There
I'm trying to get an iced out. This so much more?
Hey, just know,
big TAMM.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, just know when you are ready, you better come and see us. I promise you, I'm gonna take care of you.
I never thought in my life that I would go there to get like something, because I'm just like, at what point am I gonna have like so much money or you know, to be able to afford something like that?
Bro, I'll be honest. When I handed him that fat stack of money for this chain, bro, I'm like, I'm never doing it again. And it's for me, it wasn't even like...
How much was it?
This one, 10.
Oh.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not that bad. You know, I mean, you got guys
but still,
if I had 10 right now,
to hand over $10,000, knowing that like you're just putting it around your neck, and even then, like you could be somewhere, you could get it stolen, somebody could do some weird shit. Like I don't know, like I think all the worst. That's why.
With that we could pay off like our shit, like our debt, like that what we have floating.
Yeah. I mean, like for me, it was like, and then. I wanted all my guys have closet change from Johnny's, right? Which I feel like that's pretty cool because it's like the sign of a true boss isn't how much one person gets. Look around him and see how everyone around him is eating.
That's true.
And so for me, like for my guys, because they're in their early 20s too, to see what they've accomplished since being at the closet. Besides just everybody's got $7,500 pendants on, but like I have an employee that lost his mother, right? And they were very close. And instead of just sulking, he stepped up, went and bought his own house with his own credit, with his own money, has his dad, everybody, like he takes care of his family. And that was such a powerful thing to me, you know? And I mean, even my business partner, you know, he just had his first kid, you know, got him a $500,000 house, you know, and it's just like a testament to hard work. Like, I don't care about the amount of things. Like, who cares? Like, we can't take this shit with us, you know? But it's the hard work that afforded this that impresses me. Yeah. Like, I don't care about fly ass whips, you know, but like, tell me what got you to that fly ass whip. Tell me about the hard work that got you there, you know? That's what impresses me, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's a rewarding thing when you can do something like that. Like you probably weren't used to like $10,000, you know, on like, you know, on your stuff, but then you're just like, damn, it's money that it's a reward for you. Right. Your hard work, like, you know, everything that you did to get to that point.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's your gold medal or whatever, just for that accomplishment.
That's exactly how I looked at it. It was kind of like my gold medal because it's like I went through so many years of trials and tribulations, like just like we all do, right? Yeah. Went through some crazy. I mean, obviously y'all didn't have to do the prison shit, right? But
Thank God.
you know, yeah, right. But like going through a lot of these things, to me, it was just like, you know, I wanted to kind of reward myself. I mean, but let me tell y'all this: I got this chain back in 2021. We're in 2023. I ain't bought a chain since. So, you know, I am due for a closet chain. I definitely want to get a, you know, a diamond grill. You know, all that shit's coming, but you know, I'm not rushing it. You know, like
I was gonna tell you, like with the sales that you did, you know, you obviously as a business you have expenses, all that shit, right? So at the end of the day, like, do you feel like obviously you're making what's like your average like a year, if you want to share? Like
how much do I personally make?
Yeah.
Like, I personally don't want to say on here.
Okay, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Only because, like, you never know who's watching.
Right.
And tax stuff, and, you know, like, we pay our taxes. We pay our taxes.
Dang, tax
we
stuff?
We pay our taxes respectfully, but it's just, you got a lot of people that, you know, it's just that I don't want them to take it as gloating, man. Let's put it this way, you know, when I first started, I wasn't making a whole lot, you know. Yeah. Obviously, being at Johnny Dang's, it exploded, but even then, like, let me tell you from a humble side, all right? Because I'm glad that you actually asked that question. So let me tell you this: I still drive the same 2015 Mustang that's paid off. I stay in the same place that's paid off. I could have easily went and got my little $400,000 or $500,000 house. I've been wanting a Tesla X, you know, and I could have easily went and gotten that, right? But me being humble and at the end of the day appreciative for what I have. And especially nowadays with the economy too, right?
You just never know.
You never know. So it's like, man, I got a paid off car. I mean, I don't need to put any more, right?
Yeah.
So like eventually, like the time will come where I'll go get that Tesla X and I'll go get my $500,000 house, and I can do that tomorrow if I wanted to. But for right now, it's like,
you're good.
Yeah.
I'm good with where I'm at, you know, and it keeps me humble too, you know.
Which is crazy because. To think like that, because like, you know, people post those memes with Adam Sandler that he dresses like he doesn't give a fuck, right? Like with his sweats and shit like that. But that's when you really see like money helps a lot. It pays a lot, you know. It can bring happiness, but it isn't the thing that I guess makes you happy, right?
Yeah, well,
right.
I just saw Akon. He said that his secret to staying rich is like being stingy, which it comes off kind of wrong, you know, but it's like
true.
He's like, I'm not trying to compete with the Joneses or whatever and just like have these chains, these cars, these jets, because to maintenance on a jet is crazy, you know. He's like millions, you know what I mean? So he's like, you just got to be stingy, you know. You just got to like hold on to your money, because
or you just have to be be smart with it. You don't gotta because you have more.
Flashy,
you gotta you don't have to be flashy.
Yeah.
See, so now like where I'm at now is like, all right, you know, do you want to go get the new grill or another new pendant, or would you rather go spend it on like the new, like I was telling you, the new iMac, or go take a really badass trip? Or
so I think it's just crazy how you still balance yourself a lot.
It's, you know, and again, and I'm grateful. And even though to me it's still a gift and a curse with my age, I also feel like it's a benefit of the age, because like again, I don't feel like I have to keep up with the Joneses. Man, at the end of the day, I own a clothing shop. I put on fly ass clothing. I got my chain. I got my little paid off car. I'm at a good location. So at the end of the day, like,
you're happy.
I'm happy.
Exactly.
I'm happy. You know,
that's the important thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, Mike, appreciate you, bro. You know, I think we can keep talking. Honestly, like we can just keep
absolutely.
going. You know, but you know, we really appreciate you coming to the podcast, bro. It means a lot to us, and just to have you on here and just give us the free game, and you know, to everybody know your story and everything, just means a lot to us. So.
Yeah. Hey, and I'll say this for anybody who's watching this: if you ever have any questions, whether it's starting a business, a clothing business, or any business, a podcast, whatever, send me a DM. I wouldn't spoil, and that's another thing I like doing now is I go and speak at schools now, right? And
we didn't even touch on that. I wanted to touch on that.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
So long story short, I like speaking at schools because I love public speaking, and I love the new generation, because one day they'll be taking care of me, they'll be taking care of y'all, you know. So it's like, it's very important to me to promote not only positivity, but also kind of hit home like, yo, this is, if you want to go to that next level, everything you're doing right now is so important. It's so important. If you're falling asleep in class, it's not a good thing, you know? Like, you got to pay attention. You know, if you want to, whether you want to be a doctor, an architect, or a lawyer, like, everything you do right now is so important. So, like, that's why even when I go to schools and stuff and they're like, yo, like, can I ever message you? Like, I don't know if you're going to read it. I'm like, no, send me a message. I'll read it. It may take me a minute to get through the DMs, but I'll get to it. Yeah. I don't care if you're 13 years old, 16, 18, or 45 years old. If you have a question, feel free to holler at me, man. Like, I feel like where I'm at now, like I want to help others, man, because I feel like that right there is the ultimate goal. That right there is how you made it. If you can help others out, not how much you can eat.
Yeah.
Damn, that's dope. Best way to end it. Literally, I'm glad you brought that up, because it was just the best way to end your episode, actually, you know.
I appreciate that.
Is there anything else that you would want to touch on?
Hey, let me just say this, man. We're working on location number 2. It's going to be a freaking movie. We just celebrated our 3-year anniversary. So grateful for everybody, and so grateful for these two right here doing amazing things for the city, because without people like this, without y'all bringing the culture and the community together, we would be very, very divisive. So I love what y'all are doing, and I'm very grateful. And thank y'all. Hope y'all like this episode. DM me at Houston Closet, and we appreciate the love, guys.
Yes. You're gonna send it?
Oh, yeah.
End it.
You gotta clap.
I was just gonna say October 14th. You know, we're having our 100th episode event.
And he said he's gonna be there.
I will be there. I'm a man of my word. J Mac told me I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna bring J Mac with me too.
Yeah, hey, shout out J Mac and Jazz. We need y'all on the podcast as well.
Yes,
but other than that, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it. Much love. That's it. Peace.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Bye.